Oh, no.
Oh, no.
What is happening? You know what time it is. It is 1 o'clock. It is Friday. What time is it, Coach Ryan? What we got here?
I don't know. You taking the show.
Now, normally you ask me what time it is, and I say it's Crucible TV.
It's Crucible TV
That's
time,
right, baby. That's right. And let me tell you, we got a special guest on Crucible TV today.
Who?
Special guy.
Who's
Mr. Crucible himself, Coach Ryan Morse. We're going to be putting him in the gauntlet today. We're going to be taking him through an interview. And guys, I could not be more excited. You excited for this one?
I'm pumped up, and I'm pumped at all these people popping in on Instagram. We got Gorilla Mike. We got Straight Shot in here. We got Techno Sport. Let's go.
Techno Sport.
We got Maldonado. Got everybody in the house. And Corey, God loves sneaking in. Well, you don't have school right now, so I like that you're on now, filling that head up.
We got Mr. 530 himself coming on too.
That boy just deadlifted 530 this morning.
A house.
Setting a new personal best today. That's that Cherish the Challenge life. The
CTC.
gang's all here. And I like those hearts coming in. Man, y'all are firing me up. So I'm going to let Jesse take it away. Let's go.
My man said that Cherish the Challenge life. So we're going to kind of start right there. What brought to your mind Crucible? What brought to your mind Cherish the Challenge?
Yeah.
Well, let me go back even further there. Tell me about a little bit of Coach Ryan Morse as a kid, right? We work so much with kids.
Yeah.
What was Ryan like? What was his childhood like?
Well, I wasn't always the physical specimen that I am today. I wasn't always
a stud like this?
I wasn't always just this alpha stud that I am today. No. I was the smallest kid. Right? I was the smallest kid on the team. I was always the last kid off the bench on the team, right? Like I played on a team, it was like 11 years old, 10 years old, and we had a young lady on the team, her younger brother who was playing up on the team, right? I played after that kid, right? Like when I say last kid off the bench, that was me.
So basically you're telling me if I was to go out in the neighborhood and we were going to play pickup game.
I was the last one picked.
You were the last one picked.
I was the last one picked. Yeah. So, but man, I loved play, and I loved getting out there, and I loved working. But I was always, like I said, the last kid off the bench. And so my turning point, though, the turning point is at 11 years old, we had like our end of year ceremonies and all that, and they were announcing the all-star team, and I was like, man, all-star team, that's pretty cool. And the only reason I cared about the all-star team was because they were handing out jerseys, and the jerseys had their name on the back of their jersey. And at the time, a century ago, that was like a cool thing. I know now everybody's got the names on the back of their jerseys, but like a century ago, when I was a little kid, it was the coolest thing in the world. And I remember it was a big deal. And I was like, I want one of those. That's awesome. What's this whole all-star team about? I'm gonna go talk to my coach. And so I talked to my coach, and I said, hey, coach, how can I get one of those jerseys? I want an all-star jersey. I want, like, my name on my back. And he kind of looked at me like he didn't know what to say. I was like, what do I got to do? How do I make that team? How do I get that? He said, well, that's, like, for the really good baseball players. That's, like, for the really good players. I'm like, so? Like, to me, I didn't have any concept of good or bad. I just, whatever. And I was like, okay. So what do I got to do? And he kind of just kept pushing me off of it. Like, well, why don't you focus on something else? Like, why? That's for like the really, really good kids. Why don't you put your focus elsewhere? And I remember sitting back and being like, I feel like that's kind of opposite what a coach should be telling me right now. Right. Like he should be telling me, well, here's what you got to do to get better. Here's how you go make the team. They're like filling me up. And instead he was kind of like pushing me away. And I remember talking to my dad and being like, what's the deal? What do I got to do? And he said, well, you got a choice. He said, his big saying was always, life is the decisions you make. Life is the decisions you make. And I had a decision to make. I had to decide whether I was going to listen to this coach at the time who was pushing me off and saying, like, why don't you go do something, different, go play a different sport because you won't be good enough. Or I needed to sit down and say, you know what? I got to figure out what it takes. I need to create a plan to be able to make that team, and then I got to go execute it, right? And that really was the pivotal moment for me as a young athlete, was making that decision to say, you know what? I want to do this. I want that jersey with my name on my back. I want that thing, and I'm willing to put the work in and create the plan and surround myself with good people so that way I can make that happen. And lo and behold, the following year, I made the team. I made the team. Now, I don't think
you made that all-star team.
I made it.
That's amazing.
And
I love that.
I don't think the jerseys had the names on the back of their jerseys, but I still made the team. And it just showed me if I want something, I can go achieve it, right? No matter if a coach said, why don't you do something else, right? I made the team. And that was the first time when it really started clicking to me. It's like, if I want something, I can achieve it. It just takes work. It just takes being able to go out and do that thing. So that really was kind of the foundation of now what was to come. I didn't realize that I was going through that challenge then to be able to take that same message out now. I didn't realize that at the time, but as I look back, that's really kind of where a lot of this started from.
So how has that...
Carly, I see you.
How has that experience, though, where, you know, we're always talking about being overlooked and things like that, and that's a big theme that we're in right now is that athlete that feels like you've been overlooked, or anybody who's felt like they've been overlooked, right? You literally had a coach overlook you, like a big time right there.
Big time.
How does that help you connect with the people coming in who are feeling the same way?
Well, I'll tell you, that wasn't the only time. And maybe some of you guys can attest to this and are living that same story or have lived that same story, right? So I was overlooked at 11. And then in baseball, there's a transition from 12 to 13. You go from the little league field to the full-size big field. So you go from a 60-foot base to a 90-foot base. And I had coaches telling me, you're too small. You're not strong enough. You're not fast enough. You won't make it, right? You won't be able to play at that level.
So they told you, you're not strong enough. You're not fast enough. You won't make it.
And so overlooking me again. You won't do anything. Well, okay. I had that same life is the decisions you make thing. I had to figure out: am I going to continue on, or am I going to quit? And I had one guy say, "Why don't you go play like basketball, or there's lacrosse, or like." No, I didn't want to do that. I love baseball, so I was going to keep on going. So made it to 13. I started. Well, then the next transition is high school baseball, right? JV baseball. I'm going to go after the JV team. I had my coach on my 13-year-old team say, well, you won't make that. You won't make that. That's for like the really good baseball players.
Wow.
And I remember like, what in the world? But again, I was starting to figure out, like, well, just because somebody says I can't do it doesn't mean that I won't be able to. So I said, you know what, I'm going to. Made the JV team. And I played JV for my freshman, sophomore year. I played every inning of every game, right? And they said, well, that's great that you play JV ball, but varsity baseball is completely different. Overlooked again.
Tell me I can't do it again.
Yeah. And they said, you won't make that, you won't play. Well, guess what? By the time I was a senior, I was all area, first team, all area, right? I set the school record. I tied the school record for wins that year, right? So I went from, again, being overlooked to, hey, if I put the work in, if I get disciplined, if I do this, I set a vision, we can do that. We can do that. Well, that's high school baseball. You won't be able to play in college, right? And so again, I'm hearing it again, you know, and
Do you ever hear those same voices as a business owner?
All the time. All the time. Like, they're always in the back of my head. They're always sitting back there, right? And because not only did I hear it going into college, I played junior college ball, and then guess what? They said, well, that's great that you play junior college ball. You won't do anything past that. Well, I got to play Division I baseball, and they said, well, that's great. You won't really get to play it all. And by my senior year, I was team captain. I was elected team captain, and I remember standing on the mound. We were playing University of Miami when they were the number 3 team in the nation. And I remember standing there as they announced me as I was coming in relief. And it was like, I remember standing there, hear my name, looking over to the dugout. They had their orange Canes jersey on. And I was like, thank God I didn't listen to this coach way back when say, you can't do it, right? Thank God I didn't listen to that, right? So I take that same lesson. Now you ask, how does that help me connect with our athletes now? It's because so many of the athletes we get right now are overlooked. You're the ones that aren't big enough, fast enough, strong enough. Carly right now is telling us a story right now, and I appreciate this. This happened to me. My youth cross-country track coach said I wouldn't make varsity and score when I get in high school. My high school coach didn't believe him. My freshman year, I go out, medal top 25 in Maryland country state meet. That's what I'm talking about. Scored top 10 on my team every single time. I proved him wrong, but he had no confidence in. Yeah, that's exactly it. And see, that's
awesome,
see, Carly, that's why we get
awesome.
That's why we get along. That's why you connect here at Crucible. That's why you're part of the family, because I can connect with Carly because that was my story. It's her story, and I know what it feels like, and I know I can speak to it and say, you know what? I get it. I understand where you're at. And this is how we overcome it. What decisions are we gonna make? And that's why I can sit here and say, I believe in you. That's why we can say that we believe in you, because we've seen what happens when you get disciplined, when you make great decisions, and what is possible. And so often we are able to be successful beyond what we even believe is possible, right? And that's why, so when you ask, how can I connect with kids? How can I connect with people? That's why, because their story is my story, and my story is their story. And it's so easy to sit there and say, you know what? I get it. I know exactly where you're at.
And right there, I hear something really extraordinary. You know, we have a saying, cherish the challenge. And as you know, as you go through childhood, and you said as a child, the biggest challenge you felt like you faced, to me, it sounds like is that feeling of being overlooked.
Yeah.
And people telling you that you can't do it.
Yep.
And right there, we always say you either respond or you react.
Yep.
You could easily react, throw a temper tantrum. Oh, these coaches, you know, and how many people have you seen do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
All the time.
All the time.
But you responded, you made a play, you got with your dad multiple times, right there and then out.
Every time.
Every single time. Now, right there, that has made you the Ryan who you are today. That gives you your supervisor, helps you connect with who's
100%.
coming through the doors. And to me, I just think that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's extraordinary right there.
Absolutely.
And I think that's extraordinary about Carly.
That
Medal
is.
in top 25
Heck
in
yeah.
Maryland. That's
what it's all about,
And someone telling you can't do it too
That's exactly it.
That's amazing. Now, right there, we talk about that's your biggest challenge, and we always say cherish the challenges.
Yeah.
The challenges don't happen to us; they happen for us. They equip us. They put us in that position to do what we're meant to do.
Yeah.
Right there, that was your biggest challenge. I want to ask about Crucible performance. I want to ask about cherish the challenge. What is cherish the challenge based off of?
Yeah.
And when did you first think like, man, I want to go all in on this Crucible?
Yeah.
When did that?
So Crucible came about out of a challenge, right? It came out of a challenge. I was facing a lot of just business challenges. In my first job, I was facing a lot of adversity there as a personal trainer and things like that. And it was like, you know what? There's a way that we can do this differently. There's a way that we can connect differently. There's something inside of me that I need to be able to take my story. I need to be able to take my experiences and be able to put this into a culture, into a business, so that way all those kids and adults who feel overlooked, who feel like there's still something they have to prove, you know, we're gonna get a whole collection of us together and we're gonna go out and do amazing things, right? And so I was being faced with a challenge, and this idea of cherish the challenge came up. That's all based off of a Bible verse, James 1:2. Go check it out. But
check it out.
The idea of it, and the verse simply basically says, is like, consider it an opportunity for pure joy when you face trials of many kinds. And I remember sitting there thinking, like, how is it an opportunity for joy when I'm being challenged, when I'm being faced with challenges like that? But as I started looking back at my life, as I started looking back at all the challenges, you know what? I'm joyful I went through all those, because like Jesse said, they are what made me into who I am today. So now when I'm being faced with a challenge, if I can teach our athletes, if I can teach our adults, these challenges, they're not happening to you, they're happening for you. They're gonna help you grow if you choose to grow from them. So that's where this whole idea of, instead of just running for a challenge or complaining about the challenge, or man, I've got a hard teacher or a hard test, or I gotta get up early, or whatever it is, it's an opportunity for joy. It's an opportunity to get better if I so decide to get better from it. So I was being faced with challenges, and I said, you know what? Life isn't going the way that I want it to go. Well, am I going to react and just throw a hissy fit and complain about that my boss doesn't understand me this or doesn't understand me that? Or am I going to go do something about it? And so that's where Crucible came from, was adversity in of itself. I was going through a challenge. I was going through adversity in the midst, and I said, you know what? Let's go do something great with this challenge. Let's let it spur me. Let's let it spark me into creating something that's going to make a lasting impact into the lives of whoever it is that we get in here. So, Gorilla Mike, not everyone has the natural self-belief. Think of the blessing Think of the blessing for someone being overlooked to find support outside of themselves. That's what y'all do at Crucible. You said it exactly that. That's exactly it, Mike. It's being that place to where, I mean, the world is so critical right now, right? The world is so critical. And we want to be those people where it's like, you know what? No, we do believe in you. We believe in you because we've seen what can happen. We have seen it, we have experienced it, we have lived it, we are doing it, right? I mean, Crucible in of itself, we were business homeless for a year, right? We were in and out of tennis courts, we were training on tennis courts, we were in and out of different facilities and businesses while we were trying to find this place, right? And for that year, despite the challenges, we grew. We had more people coming. We had more people showing up. And it's like, this thing is authentic. It's real. It's what people are wanting. It's what people are needing. It's what people are connecting with. Because I don't know about you, I've been overlooked. And it seems like we get a lot of people here that feel that same way. And that's why we connect so well with you, is it's, you know what? Your story is my story is your story. Then let's get after it.
There's that common background of being overlooked and just needing someone to believe in you and learning how to believe in yourself.
Absolutely. Good stuff. What else you got for me, baby?
Well, we're talking all about challenges and cherishing the challenge. So now I want to ask you right here. The first one I'm going to ask you, what would you say is the biggest challenge you are facing today as a father and a husband? I know that's like the most amazing thing in the world, but what is the biggest challenge you face at that right now today?
I think it's this idea of balance, right? Like this idea of balance of, I want to do nothing more than spend every waking moment with my wife and my daughter, right? But also knowing that part of my purpose is being here and doing these things, right? And building this business into not just something that can generate revenue or something, but is a legacy thing for people, right? Where they can look back at their life, and being a part of Crucible is a highlight of their life. It is a inflection point. It is a place where they're on their deathbed and they're looking back and they're saying, you know what, thank God I trained at Crucible. Thank God I got to be a part of Crucible because it fundamentally changed my life. Wow. And that is the mission that I'm on. It's not just, hey, we got cool equipment or we got a cool color scheme, we got a cool, like we're excited. No, we're trying to be that place that changes lives in that kind of way. Not just I lost some weight, not that I made a team. No, it fundamentally changed the way that I live my life. So building something with that kind of goal and mission takes a lot of time. It is a lot of hard work. And the hard part is that, quote, balance, and realizing that when I'm at work and I'm going. But then also when I'm at home, I am at home. Like we always say, be where your feet are.
I was just thinking that.
Right? When I'm at home, I'm at home. The phone's off. The business brain is turned off. That is the hardest part, because I'm always trying to think about ways that we can serve our people better, that we can take care of our people better. But you know what? My wife and my daughter deserve all of me, right? They deserve all of me. That's where I need to be. I've got a very specific set of God-directed orders to take care of my family, and I need to abide by that as well, not just be this business guy, not just be this rah-rah guy, right?
What would you say you do to turn kind of, when you do go home, you turn the business owner off, and when you do come in here, you kind of, turn that back on?
Switch, yeah.
What would you say is your, is it just something you naturally have, or is there like a certain thing that, because how would you say you're dealing with that challenge right there?
The biggest thing is when I go home, I put my phone up. Like, I don't even have my phone near me. Because if I do, it's easy to scroll, it's easy to start checking email, it's easy to start doing these things. So I've just got to
looking at your Whoop a little bit.
Just start looking at my Whoop, making sure that I'm good, right? But I've tried to set my environment up to allow me to be in my best spot, right? Sometimes during the workday, the best place for me to do work on Crucible is not in Crucible, all right? Because I start wanting to work out, or I start wanting to do different things when it's like, no, I need to do something different. So I need to get myself in the right environment. So setting my environment up at home and saying, you know what? I go home, my phone goes over here, and it's not even around me. So that way I'm undivided attention on my family. Because that's the biggest thing, right? Setting those boundaries.
I think that's a valuable thing for people to learn how to do too. You know, we're being where your feet are. You know, whether if you're at practice, be at practice.
Be at practice.
If you're at class, you're at class. If you're at home with your mom and dad, be with your family.
With mom. Yeah.
Be with your family. Like, there's something about presence and moment that is an extremely valuable thing, and is a great competitive edge. Now, this is going to segue into my next question, competitive edges. What would you say is your greatest competitive edge? Man. What is your biggest edge out there?
I don't know. I think, honestly, you want to know what my biggest edge is? It's the fact that I had to go through all those challenges. It's the fact that I had to be refined. It's the fact that I had to respond so many times to being the small guy, to being the not good enough guy, to being the whatever guy, the not enough guy. I was that guy my entire life. So being that not enough guy that many times, it has showed me and proven to me that time after time, even if I am feeling that, even if I have that thought where I am not enough or I'm not good enough, I have a laundry list of opportunities and times that I can look back on and say, you know what, I am. Let's go get it. Versus being the guy that everything just came easy to, right? To where I didn't have to figure out how to struggle. I didn't have to figure out how to work hard. I didn't have to figure out this resiliency. I didn't have to worry about discipline. Like, no, I had to be disciplined. I had to do those things to make my dreams come true. And I'm still doing that, right? I'm still having to do that. And I'm still having to draw on those things because I've got big goals. We talk about it. I've got big goals and dreams. And there's often times that I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. But my edge, right? But my edge is I can look back and say, you know what? I didn't know if I could do it then either, but I found a way. So if I'm looking at a competitive edge, it's the fact that I've been challenged so many times. It's the fact that I've had to persevere so many times, more so than I've got brilliant this or that. Or like, it's the fact that I've been blessed, opportunity for pure joy, right? I've been blessed with so many challenges.
So your experience saying you've been blessed through so many challenges. Your experience through challenges has given you your biggest competitive edge, and it's almost sort of confidence, right? We always talk about we're trying to build confidence and prove that we have what it takes. So whenever you're facing a challenge, right, you know you've been through those challenges, whether it's the challenges from that year we were looking for a home but we're still growing. Or the numerous coaches told you couldn't do it. You are not big enough. You are not strong enough. You are not fast enough, right? Or whatever those challenges is, you have confidence because you've gone through those challenges and they have transformed you and they've helped you grow. So when you do face another challenge, you're built. You're ready for it.
That's right.
And that's the same thing, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that's what we want to see out of every single person who steps in the gym here. When they face a challenge in here, that it gives them confidence to crush challenges outside.
Well, that's why we have those shirts that say Crucible Built, right? It's not like just Crucible Built, but I'm built from the crucibles of my life. I'm built from the challenges of our life. So that's why we have those shirts. That's what that's all about. So, Mike, you the man.
Oh, Mike, you the man.
Well, man, we got to wrap this thing up, Jesse. You got one final question for me? You have anything else, or are we good?
One final question. Okay, here it is. So I did favorite exercise.
Bicep curl.
Bicep curls?
Yep. You can't tell, but it's my favorite. Shoot.
Favorite
you know, it's so funny. I don't have a favorite because I don't have a favorite. I do love a good bicep curl, though. Come on now.
It's a genuine answer.
I do love a good bicep curl. It's fun. We're gonna have to get some of that done here on a Friday, right after this. Get
that's what we're about to go in and think of it. But I'd say my next question here is, what would you say is your favorite memory playing baseball growing up?
Favorite memory playing baseball? Man, that's a hard one. We got to there's so many. It's hard to pick. Like, we got to do some cool things. We got to win some national championships, play against some really cool teams. But I think a lot of times it's like the practices and just being with the guys and
the relationships.
Just the relationships. Looking back at all the different teams that I've played on, and not taking those for granted, right? I think if I could give them advice, like, don't take the practices for granted. Don't like wish those away because it happens so fast. So I don't probably have a favorite memory, it's probably just a combination of all of those relationships that I was able to build that I still have. I still have some of those relationships, or just that community. So yeah, it probably just the relationships that I've built, those practices and some of those kind of things. So yeah,
I got one more.
Man,
I got one more. This is the last one.
And then some.
Last one.
I like it.
Speedy question. Here it is. Got a kid that walks in right now, or anybody, and they're feeling overlooked, and they don't feel like they have what it takes.
Yeah.
And they're having people point a finger in their face and tell them that they're not big enough, strong enough, fast enough, don't have what it takes. What do you tell them right here, right now?
I just quit. No, don't quit. Don't quit. That's what they tried to get me to do. No, I would sit there and evaluate, just make a decision, right? Make a decision and realize life is the decisions you make. What is it that you're really wanting to do? If you're wanting to play, let's figure out a way. Let's create a path, let's create a plan, and figure out what it takes to play at that next level or make that team. And then we just have to make that decision to say, you know what? I'm willing to sacrifice. I'm willing to put the investment in to making that thing happen, right? And we've just got to be brutally honest with ourselves. Am I willing to put in what it takes? Am I willing to not do certain things because it's taking me away? Or I'm willing to do things because it's allowing me to get to this level. So I'd say, let's go. If it's something you want to do, let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. But we got to be honest with ourselves. We got to be authentic, and we got to say, you know what? I'm really going to make this happen. I'm not going to lie to myself and say it's a really cool idea. I'm going to say, let's go all in and let's really do this thing. So, Kelsey, what's happening? Good to see you on here. So
go all in.
Go all in. Let's do it.
Make sure this is something that you're willing to go all in on.
And let's make a plan. Let's make a plan, and let's do it together. Let's get after it. Let's chat about it. So I would love it. Man, Jesse, did he do a good job? Give him some hearts. Give him some love. He did a good job.
He did a good job. I was starting.
There we go. We got applause coming from all over.
We should be clapping it up for you, man.
There we go. No, not for me. Mike, brother, I love you. Appreciate you. So, guys, that is Crucible TV. Hopefully, that gives you a little bit more insight into who it is that we are, what it is that we're doing, and why it is that we're doing this. Guys, we love you. We appreciate you hopping on here on a Friday afternoon like this. Again, if there's ever anything we can do to serve you, to connect with you, to help you through something, shoot us a message on Instagram or Facebook, or email us. Man, we would love nothing more than to help you out, to serve you, and to help you go beyond what it is that you believe is possible. And my mom's popping on and saying, yeah, Jesse, there we go. We got some love from my mom. There we go. Kelsey, thanks, you rock. Mom, you rock. Mike, you rock. Whoever else is on.
All you guys rock.
Y'all rock. Guys, we love you. Have an amazing Friday. Love you guys. God bless y'all.